Hi, Kane. Thank you for joining us on Black Ink Cinema podcast.
Thank you for having me, Rachel.
You're welcome. Before we get into the film that you chose, we just want to get to know a little bit more about Kane. And we heard you used to be a salesman before you ventured into comedy.
Yes, I did sales for, I think, probably 3 years. And it's weird because sometimes you don't realize where you pick up certain skills from in life. I fell into the job and I was really good at it. I worked my way up. Within a year, I was manager. They sent me abroad to train up other staff members. Yeah.
What type of sales? Like, what were you selling? What kind of product?
I was selling audio equipment, hi-fi equipment.
Okay. Well, I guess you had the gift of the gab. So being I feel like, were you able to transfer those skills over to comedy at all?
100%. What's weird is I've only just realized I've always earned my money with my mouth. I know that sounds a bit weird, but
that's a win. That's not weird at all.
No, but I'm just saying, like, it sounded weird when I said that I earn my money with my mouth. But like, when I shake people's hand, they're like, "Oh my God, your hands are so soft." And I'm like, "Yeah, because I've actually never worked."
Oh, you're one of those. I hear this a lot about comedians. You know, I feel like you guys are spoiled a little bit. Just to maneuver through life without.
We don't have any real skills. If I'm being honest, in the real world, we'll starve.
Okay.
In the real world, we'll starve. Yeah, 100%. We're not got practical skills. Our skill is our personality, and that's it.
Do you miss it at all?
No.
Okay, you said you thought about it for a second and you were like, no.
Yeah, I thought about the negatives, and most sales are commission based, so you have a bad week, you have a bad week financially as well, and getting no's all the time and not being able to close the deal. It was frustrating. I prefer this because this is more like it's about just my personality.
Yeah, exactly.
I prefer comedy. Yeah, exactly.
So
and sales is selling you, but you're trying to sell the product as well. And
I'm the worst because if you say no, I'm like, okay, it's fine.
You take it personal?
No, I just don't like force. Like, I don't like forcing people to buy. So I'm like, okay, it's fine. I'll move on to the next person.
Oh, you wouldn't have made no money, Rachel.
Yeah, I would be worse. That's why I'm like, it's not me. I worked in retail for the longest time, and if someone asked me about a shoe.
Oh wow!
Maybe you should go for this one rather than the one they were picking up. So
the thing is, when you do retail, you're actually you're getting your wages anyway. So it's not. There's no pressure so much on you as in, right, Rachel, you're not hitting your targets. You're not this. You're not that. You're going to lose your job. Or
I mean, there were times that was the case for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some were commission based, so if you'd hit the target for the month, that you get a bonus and stuff like that. But I'm just not here to manipulate.
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm glad you're out of it. If it's not in you, if sales isn't in you, don't do it. It will break your spirit. It will break you.
100%. So, what made you get into comedy?
A weird one, really. It was actually it started off as a negative. I was going through a bad time. Me and my partner, we weren't getting on very well. My dad had just passed away.
Sorry.
And I just thought, no, that's all right. I just thought to myself, you know what? You can't live your life with what ifs and maybes and not trying stuff. And I just said, you know what? I'm just going to try. I went to a comedy school for 6 weeks, did a little crash course, did like did my first show. At the end of the course, like I do 5 minutes. And it just snowballed from there. I enjoyed it, and and here we are. 15 years later?
Oh, I think that's quite nice because I think in life, usually tragedies have a way of spearing you into change, positive change, and it's sad that has happened. But at least you were able to change your life or
best move I ever made. I would. Anybody, and it doesn't matter about your age, anybody who wants to try something, or if you feel like you're in a place where you want to see if, maybe I've got transferable skills in something else, I'll always tell people, try it. You don't know. I would never know if I could be a comic. I would never know. So, yeah.
Well, good on you. So you've done some pretty big gigs. You've done one with Chris Rock and Eddie Griffin. Do you want to tell me a little bit about those shows?
Well, the Chris Rock one was, I didn't know he was going to be there, if I'm being honest with you. It's not like it was like me and Chris in the green room just chatting like
no, you weren't hanging out in the back?
We weren't shooting the breeze in the back. What happened was, I was on and he did a surprise drop-in. It was at the Comedy Store. Nice. And he came, and obviously he's a big star. Whoever was on the bill that night.
Yeah.
And so, and then I was just having a word with him afterwards, just not long, really, just a hi, bye. And he was like, oh, you funny, blah, blah, blah. And that was it. But Eddie Griffin, that was a tour we were doing. It was me, Eddie, and a couple other comics. Cool. And yeah, that was good. That was good.
Any cool stories you want to share that?
No, I can't. Americans sue for anything. I'm keeping my mouth shut. Yeah.
Stay safe. I don't want to be the reason for any situation.
I go bankrupt because of you. Thank you.
We've got to be responsible. So aside from those two, have you met any of your comedy heroes or look forward to them?
Do you know what? A comedy hero that I met, which I didn't realize he was a hero at the time. It's only when I got into comedy properly, but he's dead now. A guy called Patrice O'Neill. He was living in England. Have you heard of him?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
He, if he was still alive, hands down, would be the biggest comic on the planet. Oh. He was so talented. But he died. He had a stroke. He had diabetes, and he wasn't a healthy guy. But he was super, super talented. But yet him, more than anyone else, I've met Bill Burr, who's also a great comic as well.
Yeah.
English comics I've met that I've worked with as well, a couple of them. But those are my heroes.
Yeah.
Bill Burr, Patrice O'Neill.
Yeah. Oh, that's it's always sad when they passed away, and it's all about giving power. Heroes are alive, and
right, exactly. And you know the unfortunate thing is, comics, because of what we do, most of them are not very healthy. We work late at nights, we sleep during the day, we're nocturnal creatures, we're around drink, we're around other substances as well. Yeah. And some people abuse that, and it shows. You see, there's not a lot of comics that you see that are like, oh yeah, they look really healthy and fit.
Yeah. I mean, you look really healthy and fit. So how have you managed to navigate and kind of stay on top of that?
I don't drink.
Okay.
Never have. Never have. Last time I got drunk was a good few years ago when David Hay was world champion. Okay. And I got drunk and I was in a club with my friend, and I turned around to him and I said, you know what, I reckon I could take him. So drink ain't for me.
Drink is dangerous. Drink is dangerous. Yes. Make you think you can do all sorts and that.
Yeah. I thought I was Superman that night. So I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't take any drugs, I eat healthy, I exercise, and that's it. But that's just been my thing, where I have just for 20 odd years, I've been going to the gym. Yeah. So it's a lifestyle thing.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle. It's a habit as well, which is a good habit to have.
Of course.
Seeing on your Instagram, you've got a podcast, Chalk and Cheese.
Yes.
Very entertaining. It's wild. So this is pretty tame. That is, how is that? Tell us about it. How did that come about?
Right. So the Chalk and Cheese podcast, I wasn't originally one of the members. It was somebody else called Shabba. So the members are White Yardie.
Yes, who's
Dizzle. White Yardie's mad. Dizzle's even madder. You've got Chris Savage, who is Savage, and you've got C6, who's a DJ.
Right.
And for whatever reason, Shabba was no longer part of the group.
Okay.
They asked me to come in as a guest on the show. I came in, and they were like, "Oh, actually, do you know what? Would you mind joining? Because the balance worked, the energy worked, And so I said, yeah, okay. And it's been a baptism of fire. I'm not going to lie. This is them. they're like my brothers now, though. We're so close, but like family, you argue a lot.
It was funny because when I was watching it, that's what it reminded me of, my brothers, my cousins, just having a discussion over, let's say a football game. You would think someone like literally said your mum. Like it becomes it goes from 0 to a million. Watching it, I was like, it's normal. They're fine. They'll be all right.
Rachel, if I tell you something, we edit out most of the bad stuff. You see, if we put that out, you lot would think we're crazy. I swear to you, lot would be like, these guys are literally unhinged.
I mean, slightly already, but yeah, I guess it will be a lot more.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not just saying it because I'm on it. I'm not just saying it because I'm on it. But I don't know another podcast that is as funny, as truthful, and that's why we always end up in an argument, because we don't hold back. We are honest. Yeah. And a lot of podcasts that you watch, people kind of are scared to step on people's toes and a little bit mindful of the other person's feelings. There's none of that on this podcast. This podcast is speak your mind, and that's why it's called Chalk and Cheese, because we're all different.
And so people can find out where they can watch and listen to Chalk and Cheese. Share your socials.
Right, so it's Chalk and Cheese podcast, shall I say? Chalk and Cheese podcast on Instagram. It's on Spotify, which is released every week. We're on episode 87 now.
What day?
It released on Sunday on Spotify. On YouTube on Monday. It's on SoundCloud as well. So it's on those 3 platforms. And then we put out little clips on Instagram, like little highlight clips. And then you can go onto the Spotify or YouTube, because obviously it's YouTube, you can watch us. Spotify, you can listen. So, yeah.
And what's your Instagram, Twitter, your social?
Right, so mine is Kane Brown Comedy. So Kane_Brown_comedy. Bit of a long one.
No, it's all right. It was easier to find you, so it's all good.
Okay.
But
did you know, sorry to cut you, Rachel, there's a guy in America, a singer called Kane Brown.
No, I have not.
Yes.
Is he new?
He's huge. He's got like 2.6 million followers. But he's like a country singer, like a mixed race guy. And I swear, probably at least once or twice a month, I'll get someone messaging me saying, Kane, if you just retweeted me, it would make my life. They think I'm him.
I mean, can they not see your picture? Or?
Thank you. He's like in his 20s. I'm more than that. I'm older than that.
It's all right. Black don't crack. It's cool. You're seasoned.
Thank you.
No, but you should just retweet it, and then they'll feel a bit.
I should. I know I should. I just feel bad because these people he's the hero. And for me, if I retweeted him, like, do you know what I mean?
He can't be their hero if they can't tell the difference.
That is true. That part I agree. I agree with you, Rach.
Side eye right there.
Yes.
So obviously Black Ink Podcast is here to celebrate everything Black cinema. And we asked you to pick a film, and you chose Babylon, which is a British film surrounding a Jamaican community living in London, I think kind of out of London.
Yes.
So why did you choose Babylon?
All right, I'm gonna reveal my age now. So how old are you, Rachel, by the way?
Well, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. This is you. Right. Don't drag me down.
I was only asking because I didn't know whether you knew about the film before I suggested it.
Well, saying that, this is literally the first time I've ever seen it, and you're the first person to suggest a film that I haven't seen. I thought I was pretty well versed in films, and I was like, how did this one go over my head? Like, I don't even understand. So thank you for that.
That's all right.
But yes, so I hadn't seen it.
Yeah, so that's why I asked your age, because it's a generation thing. Anybody from my generation, I'm 46. So anybody from like my...
What? 46? You can't just say 46 and then just act like that's... 46 at all. Praise parents for all of that. Good genes being passed down.
And drinking water. And only getting drunk once. Yeah.
And only getting drunk once. Yeah, that's the key. I also think minding your business is a very good key in like staying young, but
100%. I keep myself to myself.
That's me.
But the film it's an iconic film with such iconic moments. Like, I haven't seen the film for years. People who are my age group haven't seen it for years, but we can still quote lines from the film today, and everybody would know what I was talking about. It was the first film that I saw which dealt with race issues, especially in that time as well in England.
Yeah,
because,
1980,
Yes. So you that time, either I don't know if you were born. I don't think you were born.
Not yet.
Then. Right. So in that time, I do remember, I was 6 when the film came out, but by the time I watched it properly, I was in my early teens. I was probably 13. And it kind of struck home because I kind of saw what my parents may have gone through. Do you know what I mean? With the whole the teddy boys, or the all the racist rhetoric that was going around then, and it all revolved around like a sound system. So that's what we brought here. Our culture, we brought our food, and we brought our music. And so sound system was a really big thing back in the 80s. It was huge. Like, people would be having house parties all the time, and it wasn't so like where people would go to clubs all the time. It was, someone's having a house party. There's going to be food. There's going to be drink, and it was like a real community-based type of event. And so it really drew in on that, which was, the sound system coming over from Jamaica or the Caribbean islands, and how the children of those parents, how they fitted in within England at that particular time. And it was really poignant because they did use the language as well. So they didn't hold back on it, And I think it was a true representation of what was actually going on in segments at that time. Obviously, not everybody's racist, not everybody received racism, but that was a reality. That was like a little snapshot of what some people's lives were like at that time.
Yeah, because I was going to ask if you had a personal connection and if your heritage was Jamaican or from the Caribbean. And so therefore, I think it would have been like a rite of passage. And if I had been Jamaican, definitely I probably would have watched it. Like, it would have just been a film. Yes. Thing that you just go through, that part of life. Yeah. But even watching it, I was just like, because I was telling Adam, I think my earliest experience of like Black people on telly was Caribbean, Jamaican, the real McCoy. And so, and so like, I was like, how did I miss this? Like, how has this not been part of, because that was growing up, it was a Jamaican culture thing. It was like, everyone Black was Jamaican, okay? Didn't matter where you were from.
That's right. Of course.
So that's why I was asking, and I think it definitely would have been an important film. And the way they kind of tackled it, it wasn't the main part of the film, but it came and went, and you're like,
right. So the good thing for me, the reason why that film's really iconic is because it kind of it dipped into certain things, but it wasn't like it was unfinished business. I didn't feel like you went away thinking, I think they should have explored a bit more. Do you know what I mean? It was, I felt it tackled it really well. The community based, like, the whole sound system thing, like I was saying, the church, not being able to find work, some of the things that we had to do to get money, the police, interaction with young Black youths.
I found it interesting because it's like 2020 and we are still...
Exactly.
And it was
the
like,
same thing.
So relevant. It's so relevant now. I've got family members that get stopped all the time just because they're driving.
Exactly. And that was what? That's 40 years ago.
Yeah.
The film was made 40 years ago.
Yeah.
So when you think about it, it's how far have we come?
Yeah, exactly. It's still so relevant. And I think... I think Adam mentioned that it was shown on Channel 4 quite often and stuff like that, because I think Channel 4 was a rebellious channel at the time.
Yes.
But I think for sure that needs to come back in the cycle somewhere, and like the next generation needs to see it, because like you said, this film was made in 1980 and nothing has changed or evolved.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know, I definitely think that they should do like a remake of it, or, you know, like an up-to-date version.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of remakes, so just do another one. Just do...
Yeah, well, not necessarily, you're right. Not necessarily a remake, but something which is up-to-date that the younger generation can kind of get into and tap into. And it doesn't have to be just about racism, but it's just kind of a snapshot of what it's like to be black in England right now.
And I think that's what I found watching it. It wasn't... there was no real point of the film. Like, it didn't have like a mad message. It was just like you said, a snapshot of being black Caribbean living in London. And this is your daily experience, your family, your friends, and the representation. And I just thought, wow, that was really forward for England for 1980 to release this film. And it's like, I don't understand. It's like we take one step forward and like 100 back. But
I think the film at one point was banned. I think it was banned at one point, if I'm being honest.
It's like, banned for what? It's literally like the softest approach.
Yes.
Race talking.
Yes, it was. Because if you watch it as a layperson, it would seem as if it was about this guy's journey on this sound system. There was racism at part of it, and then we moved on and it became about the sound system again. But it was... The film had such a massive effect on the black community at that time, because there was no film that was like that before.
That represented them.
Never. And so it was, you watch it and, you know, like when you watch, do you remember, gosh, you're too young.
No, it might not be. Talk to me.
You are. Like, the Thriller video.
Oh, yeah, well, of course I watched the Thriller video.
Yeah, but you weren't there when it was released.
No.
Right. So when that was being released, that was, it was an event. It was shown at midnight. I'll never forget. It was shown at midnight and it was meant to be like really scary. So it was like a horror film and it was like meant to like 18 plus or 15 plus or whatever it is. But it was like such an iconic moment where it's never been done before. It's only a video for a song that was being released, but it was such a big build-up. And so it was the same type of thing with this film where it really cut through like society in this particular community. And we really latched onto it and was like, wow, this is a great representation of us, because a lot of people that were actually in the film, they weren't traditional actors either. They were.
I like that. Well, I don't know that whether that was the case or not, but I quite liked how natural it all felt. It didn't feel like there were actors putting on a Jamaican accent or anything like that, or speaking patois. They were just, you know, it felt very natural.
Themselves.
Yeah.
So the guy who Shaka, you know, the guy from the other sound system. So not the guy that's from.
He's got that.
Yes. Yeah. So that's his real name, and he was part of a sound system. So he kind of played himself in effect.
Oh, that's cool.
So, So there were a lot of people in there who did cameo roles who were not actors. The white guy in it, actually, he's an actor and quite Ronnie. Right.
When I saw him, I was like, "What? What's going on? This is." I recognised him straight away. I was like, "This is
exactly."
I would have never picked him to be in this film.
He did a great job. He did a
fantastic job.
Yeah,
he did a fantastic job.
And it also showed, which is good as well, because it didn't just show racism. It also showed that white people did gravitate towards our culture as well. There were English people that loved what we did.
Yeah. Did you, speaking of Ronnie, did you ever have a friend like that growing up? Or do you have friends like that you can, that kind of understood, or like allies, will use that word, or kind of like bridge the gap, or that you can have these like honest conversations without them feeling attacked?
Yes. I got white friends now. And at the time, yes, I did have white friends. Like there was a guy in my primary school called Patrick, ginger guy, but he just gravitated towards the black kids. And unfortunately, his family emigrated to Australia. I think it was the last year we were going. But yeah, and he understood our culture without as kids. You don't really. It was an instinctual thing. It wasn't I'm down. Yeah, it was just an instinct. Yeah, he liked our energy, our vibe, and we just all got on, and that's what it's about. It shouldn't be about color. It should be about interest. Oh, I like your food. I like your music. I like your culture. I like your vibe. I like your energy.
Yeah.
And that's an individual basis. I can dislike a black person just because we're black. Don't mean I have to love you. It's about energy. It's about the person, and that's what it's about for me. I always judge people on who they are.
Yeah,
I don't care your background. And unfortunately, it's been really tough because black people are always judged first.
Yes, and
then you have to prove them who you really are.
It's like guilty until proven innocent.
Innocent, yeah, and it's so strange. And I found myself actually doing sales. I found myself dumbing myself down, trying to be less threatening, being not a clown, but being like approachable and the big smile and do you know what I mean?
And it's like I have to do that all the time because if I'm not smiling, then I look like I've got a resting bitch face.
Resting bitch face, right?
Like honestly,
why are you so upset? Can't you smile?
It's like no, I'm not. I'm genuinely not upset. I'm just thinking. But when I'm thinking, my face just apparently doesn't look approachable. But when you're black, when you add blackness to that, it's like So you find yourself having to put on, to put on this like. Hi. Yeah.
Facade. And the worst thing is, if I'm being honest, like obviously you're that type of person as well, like a smiley character, just like me. But it's like I feel like we're not allowed to just, and that
the minute you're upset a little bit, you've got an attitude, and I'm like, oh my God, you have no idea how I've suppressed the attitude. Like you don't go outside of this vicinity, you would know attitude. Okay?
No, you know.
5%. I'm really trying here.
Right. And so in the film actually went straight through that because they were being their authentic self, because they were around their own.
Yeah. I love that about the film as well.
Right, exactly. So even when, you remember when Beefy headbutted Ronnie?
Yeah.
I know. I felt sorry for him, but that part of the film was basically it kind of made the audience member think like, oh, feel sorry for him, because now we saw him as a person. We didn't see him as just a white guy around black guys. What we saw was he was genuine. He had genuine love for our community.
Yeah, exactly. And he getting blamed for something that is out of his control.
Right. And exactly.
It was really sad. And obviously Beefy's carried that anger throughout the film. He's been the hothead, which is warranted as far as I'm concerned, because there's only so much one can take. Unfortunately, he expresses that he takes that out on the wrong person, and it's a bit unfair.
That's right. Yes.
But yeah, it's and that's a real situation though. Do you get what I'm trying to say in terms of like, 100%. You're going to be faced with that, and you need to, I guess everyone just kind of needs to know how they're going to react. Of course you're not responsible for what that person did, but you're a reminder kind of thing.
Yes.
And you hold that responsibility.
Exactly. And also what's really poignant about that part of the film is sometimes that's how white people might perceive us, because they've had a bad experience with one black person.
Yeah, exactly.
We're that mirror image of them. So it becomes, so I loved the film. Like you could quote lines from the film now and I'd know what part of the film it was. And I haven't seen the film for years. for years.
Oh
like even when Beefy stole the stuff from the school and then tried to sell it and tried to use it, and the guy was telling him that it's rubbish and it's not going to work. He stole the camera.
Yeah.
And then he had his dog. He had his bull mastiff dog walking down the road. Oh man,
there were so many little bits in that just reminded me of growing up here, like in the night. I don't know what it was. There was just something quite grainy and gritty about it, and it was like a flashy London. You know how that London's always trying to be perceived as like
this is grimy.
It was just like this is my London.
This is real. This is real.
Exactly.
Where are your family from, Rachel? Sorry to cut
Uganda. We're Ugandan.
Oh, okay.
East African. Through me.
I'm sorry, Rach.
It's right. It's okay.
I was just wondering where you were from, because I'm trying to picture your life as well, like who you'd be around and that. Yeah.
See, I think for me, I was brought up in a real melting pot of course, be around Africans and East Africans because I'm Ugandan. So there was that obviously growing up. But then just different Africans, so, Nigerians, Ghanaians, Ethiopians, just wherever it may be. But also going to school, especially maybe in the early years, the black people at school were mainly from the Caribbean. And only as I got a bit older, then, West African population kind of grew, and Central Africa as well. So that influence kind of changed. And then it was like, I don't know, the older you get as well.
You're right.
So it's like just a melting pot.
Yeah, because I didn't grow up with too many Africans, if I'm being honest with you. I only grew up with a few. South London, Lewisham.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm from South East, and then I moved from there when I was like 20. Yeah, about 20. I moved from there, and I'm glad I moved. I'll go back now, and people are still stuck in where they were like 20 odd years ago. It's crazy.
Yeah. One thing that puzzled me was the name of the film. Okay. So I need a Jamaican to explain to me, because there's these different interpretations of what Babylon means. Like there's literally arguments online about what it means and why. So my understanding was a little bit different, but I just want you to clear that up.
Go on, you tell me what.
No.
Okay, all right. So basically, Babylon is the oppressive system,
right,
against us. So you will say, even the term Babylon they've used to describe police, say for example.
So that's growing up. That's what I was familiar with. So when we saw this, I thought it was going to be more surrounded around police brutality or things like that.
Yes.
And as I looked into it, someone went really deep and was like talking about the comparisons or the nuances between Jamaicans being taken away and brought to another land, to an oppressed land, as like the Jews did to Babylon. Like, so that's where it apparently originates from. And
so the original meaning, but then our interpretation of bringing it forward many years was it was just the system against us and against our progression. So that's what Babylon meant to us. So that the title of that film was specifically there to kind of, it was a perfect name for it, because it was a film about people who weren't from here coming here and having to deal with a system that wasn't designed for them to flourish.
Yeah, it's very multi-layered, so it has many things. And okay, so that's good. We're on the same page, all right? Because I kind of looked into it a bit more, and I was like, it's really interesting. I just wanted to get your perspective on it. One thing you did mention earlier was the music and how music plays such a huge part. I think not only in Jamaican, but just in Black culture in general. Like, layering music. I mean, if you just have to get used to it, like morning, to nighttime. The music in there was amazing. But also, so the guy, he's in that group, which I had no idea that I grew up listening to.
Yes, Aswad was massive.
Shine came. I was like, oh my God, these tunes like these. And the thing is, I don't even remember how or where. I just remember that music being played, and it's part of my childhood.
Yeah,
like,
right. And the great thing about that, because obviously he's part of Aswad, so they used some of their tracks in the film, and the scoring of it, the music accompanying it went so well. Like I can remember, even it wasn't even music, but it was just, you know, when Beefy was mashing up the car.
Yeah.
And it was just that little beat in the background, and even now I can still hear it. But it was, for us, music is, when we were going through what we were going through during slavery, music was a big part of our survival and just getting through the days, and you know, and it's carried on where it's in us. Music is part of our soul. It's our way of expressing ourselves. It's our way of getting rid of our pain, but putting it down. And it's also, but also as well, passing on our story through music, because a lot of our history has been whitewashed and been taken away. So it was our way of handing down something to our children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, without them actually knowing they're being taught part of our culture. And so it seeps into our consciousness, where even like now you're saying, I grew up with it and I didn't even know it was, but it's because we feel like our music is made with so much passion that it is part of us. It's when you do something that's so authentic, that it can only transcend into something which becomes part of people's subconscious and their consciousness as well. Because right now, if I could play a track to you, and it will bring you back to a particular time or a feeling, and you're like, oh my God, why do I feel that just by listening to a track?
Yeah.
Because
I think we could go to my brother, and I was like, oh my God, this has brought back so many memories. He's a little bit older than me. And he was just like, why are you playing this shit? Like, he didn't understand. And I was like, I was watching this film, and then it led me here, and I was just like, and it's brought back all these like childhood memories, like having parties and just they're playing, but I had no idea that was the name of the band, but I'm here singing all the words, which is
right.
It's amazing.
Aswad was massive. They were really big. Yeah, huge. They were doing massive tours, and they were big within even the white community as well, because they were like pop reggae. Like a UB40 type. You know what I mean? Like, so it was accessible. It wasn't too edgy. It wasn't too raw, and it was good feeling music. Yeah. And so people gravitated towards it, and it kind of became part of British culture as well, you know. And it's amazing when you think now, you know, 30 odd years ago, that you can listen to the music now, and it's like, oh my God, this still feels like you can jam to it, you know. It's amazing.
I was playing their greatest hits. Okay, I was jamming in the greatest hits, just thinking, good for music. I'm here for it. Did you ever dabble in a bit of music? I feel like a person at one point thinks that they can sing or rap. So
no, I didn't do that. But funny enough, a friend of mine sent me. He used to DJ, but like for private parties or whatever. And I was there. He sent me a couple of pictures the other day of me, like with headphones on and talking into the mic. I don't even remember doing that, to be honest with you. But I did, but I don't remember it. but I was I grew up, my dad's Jamaican, and I grew up listening to reggae. Like, he would have a Sunday session where all Sunday my mum would cook in the kitchen, he's in the front room playing music and smoking. And so I just remember just listening to like just reggae music, like Culture. There's a band called Culture, Black Uhuru, Dennis Brown, like Toots and the Maytals, obviously Bob Marley as well, Dennis Brown, like Freddie McGregor. And that was my childhood. Like, I can listen to music now and it's like, oh wow, it brings back that nostalgic memory for me. You know, I didn't get into music, but I wish if I could sing. I wish.
Watching that, I felt some similarities between that and Yardi. While I was Idris's Yardi. And then we discovered that it's done by the same writer, who must be literally 1,000 years old now, but it was written by the same person, which has a lot of similarities in there with the music and the transition of your, Jamaican culture, and then trying to integrate. Did you see that similar? Because obviously you're more familiar with it. So were you like, yes.
I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't seen Yardi.
Oh, okay. I got one up on you.
Oh, I know. I haven't seen it, and I've been meaning to see it. It came from the book. It was a book. And I haven't watched it yet. That's my bad. I should have watched it, if I'm being honest with you. It's had really good reviews.
No, really good reviews. And I think if you watch it, you'll see it's almost like a graduation of Babylon. From that story, because it's got a heavy influence of the music, but the culture is very, laid in there as well. Living in London, the experience of just, being in living in London.
I'll be honest, Rachel, I do need to watch it. I do need to watch it. In fact, what I'm gonna do within the next week, I'm gonna watch it.
Watch it somehow. And then let me know. Let me know. But going back to the film, have you ever experienced racism, direct racism? Things like that. Like
the time when I grew up, to be fair, a lot of the racism, this is the difficult one, is where people are being racist, but because they don't call you the N-word, it's hard to prove. That's the tough one for me.
British racism.
Yes.
Smart as hell.
Yes, it's a tough one for me to get my head around, because I get more frustrated with that than someone being overtly racist. I know you're racist. I know who the enemy is. I know to either confront you or stay away from you. I can deal with that. What I can't deal with is, that you don't like me because of my skin color, but I could never prove it.
Yeah.
And so now I look like the guy who's paranoid and pulling out the race card.
Yes.
And so when I was growing up,
I've always said that. I've always if you're going to be racist, let me know where you're.
Let's get it out there.
Let's get it out of the way, and I'm cool. I'm not safe. But I hate the ones where they're like liberals. And they're mad racist and sexist and all the other things that come with it. It's just like...
And this is one of the things that I'm a big advocate of, because I kind of look at racists, people who are homophobic, people who are sexist. I kind of look at them with... I don't even know how to put it. I don't look at them as... they're just horrible people. I will more look at it as you're not educated, or you're not informed, or you haven't been around that group of people. And it's fear. You're fearful of that group of people for whatever reason. And so I kind of pity those people. I don't ever look at them as if... because their whole thing is to make them feel better than you.
Yeah.
That's what their thing is. I don't like you because I'm better than you, and you see me as aggressive or whatever it is, unintelligent. And so I know I'm not those things. So you're the stupid one. I don't ever feel as if, oh gosh, that's horrible, that hurt, because I know it's not the case.
Yeah.
So when I was growing up, racism was more in your face. People would call you the N-word. I remember even, God, how long ago was this? This was probably 20 odd years ago. Group of guys driving past, windows wound down, shouting stuff out the window. It was not commonplace, but it happened a few times. And but those people got it from somewhere. So they've heard that talk. Listen, I've got a 3-year-old child, and he will never swear unless he hears it in the house or he hears it from somewhere. Racism, people are not born racist. They're taught racism. They're taught it. Nobody's born and thinks, do you know what? I don't like this group of people because of the color of it. Nobody does that. You see children playing, they don't care about the color of the other person's skin.
Yeah, so
it's only as they get older.
Conditioning.
Of course. Right. So, as I've got older, the racism hasn't been so much in my face, but I know it's there. I know it's there.
I think for me, what was more difficult is you growing up, because your kids, it wasn't really that evident, and the odd racist remark or whatever was like really few and far between. It was more going into the workplace and the work environment when you start going into where you're the only black person, whatever, and it was little things that would be said or behaviours. And like I said, it's very, I call it British racism, where it's very clever. And it's not racism where it's just like, we don't like your sort.
It's not over. Exactly.
And it's so difficult to kind of navigate. And so because you haven't been used to that kind of figuring out, is this person racist or not? You literally have to figure it out, and it might take a bit longer. But it's difficult. It's difficult. And
you know the funny thing is, Rachel, sorry to cut you.
That's all right.
But people will never, unless you're black, people will never understand what makes you think I'm racist. I know. I can't explain it. I just know. It's something that's innate within us. Listen, I don't know how old you are, but I've had 46 years of understanding human behavior, understanding body language, and it's little things. And you know what? Sometimes, maybe 10%, 20% of the times, you may be wrong. And the person isn't racist. They might have had a bad day, or they might just not gel with you particularly. But the other times, you hit it on the head. You hit the nail right on the head, but you can't prove it.
Yeah, it's a lifetime of information. So by the time, don't worry, by the time I get to my age, I know when someone's racist or anything. They're trying to be smart and slick with it, and you're just like, not today, honey, not today.
I'm right, exactly. I know what you're trying to say, and I know how you feel. But just be honest. Just be honest. Just because now,
right now, what I find funny, the TikTok generation, they're hotting up their parents. So they're like recorded their parents, and they're having these discussions. And I'm just
I saw this white girl do it.
And it's also white kids, and I'm just like, one, good on you, but at the same time, this is crazy. If this is the conversation, obviously the parents don't know they're being recorded or whatever, or some of them and they are completely fine with it. I'm like, wow, how did you manage to get some common sense then? If this is the environment you're being raised in, but you can clearly see that what they're saying and doing is wrong, some of them being cops, some that are being saying this. It was quite troubling, but positive at the same time, because I was like, we have some hope.
Yes, but this is the good thing about this generation, the good and bad, is they are so immersed within a particular culture, and it's not just black culture, but it's everybody's culture. So everybody's into rap, everyone's into hip hop, everyone's into dressing a certain way, everyone's going out to clubs with different races of people, and it's only when those ones who are segregating themselves and only go to certain places, who maybe are still fearful and are still a little bit racist and still look down on people of color. But those people that immerse themselves within the culture, they get it. They get it, because your parents can tell you till they're blue in the face, they're thieves, they're crooks, they're aggressive, they're this, they're that, they're violent. But hold on, I've got friends, and they're the most passive people you'll ever come across.
We're too chill. That's the problem.
And I've never heard them say anything about aggressively about anybody else's race, but you have.
Yeah.
So they're not stupid. They're seeing, hold on, wait a second. This doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna be honest. If you hold back a people, I don't care what race you are, what color you are, everything is down to economics. Do you think that these black youths would be out there doing what they're doing now if they had the economic power that the white elite have? There would be no need for them to do that. They wouldn't have to go out and try to make money any other way. They would be working. They'd be making money. They'd be setting up their own businesses. They'd feel confident. Listen, a lot of people who go to university, white people who go to like the top ones, Eton, Cambridge and stuff like that, they're practically sorted because everybody's family knows everybody's family. There's a job waiting for them. Yeah. There's opportunities waiting for them. There's a legacy waiting for them. There's, like when my dad died, there was no will. Like he had no money. That doesn't happen in certain circles in the white community. Yeah. They're set. They're fine. So we've got to find our own way through life. We've got to say from scratch, in fact, from below scratch. We're not starting at zero. Every black child's had that talk. You have to work twice as hard as your white counterparts. You've got to make sure why? But every black child is having this conversation with their parents. Yeah. We're having a conversation about police as well. Oh, when the police stop you, make sure that you don't, you do everything that the police says. And it's like, come on. Yeah. And I get that. I get it that sometimes it's easy to paint a picture of young black people as being aggressive and as being into criminal activity. It's easy to paint that picture. But let's scratch the surface and look at what the cause is. The cause isn't because they're black, white, they're doing it. You can go to any country where there's a disparity in wealth and you will see where the crime rate is. When you go to Brazil and you go to the favelas and you see the amount of crime that's there, they're not being carried out by predominantly black people. But the reason why the crime's happening is because it's poverty. People are poor. They don't have money for food. They don't have state support. These people, and they're looking at other people and seeing they have and they don't have. That's why black people, we are so conscious about how we look because it's important to us. Even if we've got nothing, we've got to act or look as if we're okay. You'll see it. You'll see white people comfortable wearing dirty trainers.
Oh, yeah. And it's because they're not being judged on the way they look.
That's exactly. And they've not grown up with that stigma. They can just be allowed to be themselves. Yeah. They can be allowed to be themselves.
Yeah.
Black people always feel like...
They have
we've always got to be... No, we've always got to be flossing. We've always got to be sharp. We've always got to have the nice car. We've always got to have the nice clothes. The richest white guy you'll see will be walking down the road looking like Mr. Nobody. Mr. Nobody. But if you look at Exactly. But you look at a rich black guy, he's still got a certain mindset where he's still looking a certain way.
It will be off the chain.
Yes.
But I mean, I guess you and I, we could really go in. I don't really want to delve deeper because I keep going on this subject. It's a lot and I'm very passionate about it. But reverting back to the movie, Errol's journey, it frustrates me a little bit in terms of he starts off, him and Ronnie stop Beefy from going and stabbing the racist guy upstairs. He tends to be kind of level-headed, the one who's kind of got his shit together. Yeah. And then slowly things start unraveling and everything, his world literally starts crumbling, and he goes from that person and then his experience with the police of being just chased and attacked for literally no reason. And also that chase scene seemed to go on forever. I was like, man has been running for a minute.
Yes. It was nighttime and now it's day. It's like...
I was like, why would these coppers had nothing better to do than chase this one kid all night and find him and then beat him up and charge him on with what? Walking the streets while black. I was really confused about that. But that kind of unraveled the sequence of events of then what was
him going to stab.
Yeah,
to come afterwards.
Going for that, and then obviously his mum's bailed him out. Significance of her saying, "I believe in him. He's a good boy." Da 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 da. Will turn on, and their dad and them to kind of having that argument, and now how it ends with what's happened. It's like, well, now it's gonna be another statistic and end up in jail.
Yeah,
and it was just such quick.
Yes,
events.
The transition was quick. Yeah. I think the point of that in that part of the film was it just shows that even though you know somebody is a good person, you know, he was looking after his younger brother. He was that type of guy. He wasn't into no nonsense. He was working. He was just into music, and it just shows that a sequence of events, which what will happen is people will look at him as that event now. They won't look at the backstory and say, what were the things that led to you being that person? And so I think that that part of the film was there basically to kind of show, you know what, it doesn't matter what your intentions are initially, who you are as a person, but everybody's susceptible to changing because of outside influences.
A reaction.
And so, yes. And so all this pent up anger inside of him now, which wasn't necessarily so apparent before. He got on with things, got white friends, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't so apparent before. But now it's like boiling point. How far do you think you're going to push me until I snap? What he did was wrong, obviously, but I think it was just showing the stark, the two polar opposites of this was what he was and this is what he became in a moment of madness.
But also if you keep someone that they are bound to break, and there's only so much you can take, and I think you're seeing that now with everything that's going on. Everyone's like, why isn't everyone protesting and whatever? Because it's like there's only so much. We can't, not every day.
Had enough.
Like we just had enough. And I think that's what that represented. His reaction was more of like, I'm done.
I've had enough. And you know what's funny, Rachel, is that right now, sorry to come off the film a little bit, but right now, it's really striking. This move, what's going on now with this George Floyd movement, and just how our mindset has shifted. Something is happening right now, and it's as if we're on a train now that we're not stopping. We're going to keep pushing forward. No matter what happens, we're going to keep pushing forward for some form of equality. Some form. And you're not going to be able to just dangle a carrot in front of a few people and we're going to say, all right, we've forgot about it now. It literally is now, no, we've had enough. We've had enough. We're not being treated equally. You know, Jewish community got their reparations. We did 400 years of indentured slavery, not had any reparations. The slave masters were paid. And I think it was the total of 17 billion pounds in today's money. I think it was 20 million pounds back then.
Which creates generational wealth, which people are. So when people say it wasn't me, I'm like, well, bitch, refund
everything. You're benefiting from it.
You're
Thank you.
Living.
Please.
So give everything back. If it wasn't you, give it all back.
Right.
And it leads on to other things. You know, there's countries sitting here with jewels and artifacts that they stole. Can you just, if it's not a big deal and everyone should move on and we should get over it, just refund, take back everything.
Let's reset everything.
Let's reset and everything's calm. I don't mind going back to Africa. I genuinely don't, because I'm a sunshine person. I need my sunshine, so it's all good. I've got everything I need there. That's not the issue, but you can't rape continents and then say, get over it.
That's what they did.
Get over it.
Yes. But what's funny is it's easy to say that because our issue is, as a black community, we don't stick together. We don't. No, but
that's been implemented in our community. That didn't just happen. It wasn't always like that.
Of course.
It was a divide and conquer. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And I do think
colorism.
I mean, we've got. Don't get me wrong. Like when this is all going on and Black Lives Matter, I'm like, yo, we've got our own issues within our community.
We've got massive issues.
Shadism. all the other isms in there. And it's just like, I get it. The world needs to fix up, but we need to fix up as well and educate ourselves.
Yes.
Because, you know, I think John Boyega had his speech just like gave me chills, and it was
amazing.
Just to see
amazing.
a black boy talk about the sisters, and I was like, John, do not make me propose to you today, right now. I was like, thank you. No one was saying it, and it was just refreshing for someone of his stature to kind of off the cuff think about us. I mean, he's pretty grounded, I guess, and he's, you know, must have an amazing upbringing for him to even think about. But there's plenty of black guys in the media that haven't had our back, and so for him to do that in that moment, it was
huge. It's huge. There's a guy who's a comic as well, and he's a radio presenter, Sideman.
Yes.
Right. I've got to big up my young king right now, because he was working for the BBC on the radio. Good job, making good money, and them using the N-word on the news, and then them justifying it by saying the family said that they wanted the report to show it. And they doubled down on it. They didn't apologize. They had 18,000 complaints from the community to say that's not acceptable. They didn't listen. And he stepped down from his job with immediate effect and said, I'm not working for you anymore. I can't work for an organization who are going to justify the use of that language on the news. And so they apologized after. They apologized. But it shouldn't take for him to lose his job or leave his job for them to say...
And for a lot of people to boycott or to complain and to do... Why does it need to be a song and dance? Like, before we get to that point, you lot just don't consider us.
No.
It's not even a consideration, because if you did, anyone in that whole bloody newsroom would have been like...
Would have said, are you mad? Excuse me?
What? Pull up. We've got edit. Stop. Shall we? This is fine.
And this is the problem. And I think that once we saw, and I think it's starting to happen now, where we're starting to come together more as a community now. So, but it's for us to fix up our stuff first. We have to be the first ones for us to really move forward, because once we do that, we will know the Jewish community, they don't play around, and rightly so. If anybody comes for them in any way, they shut it down. So we need to understand our strength is in numbers, and we have to stick together. And once we do that, and I think it's starting to happen. When I was growing up, being African was a bad thing. You know, it was like, it wasn't like, oh yeah, I'm African and being proud and the names.
We were being called names. Even the hairstyles that now Kylie fucking Jenner, sorry, mind my language.
Yes, it's true.
Is being held as a fashionista, and I'm just like, you know, I used to actually get bullied for having my hair in knots. Like, are you okay? And you guys,
I get cussed about your big lips as well, and now everybody's in. Hello, Rachel. I went through it. I'm not even supposed to be this close to the camera. I'm supposed to be suffering trauma right now because of my lips and what was said.
My big lips and my melanin that you are now injecting yourself with.
Yes.
People are physically injecting themselves with melanin. Can we just take a moment? The world's gone mad. I think the world has gone mad. I just don't even understand.
Yes, man.
It's gone mad. I can't do it.
But you know what? Yeah, over the past, I've always been proud to be black. There were times when I was younger when I was like, I wish if I was fairer skinned, blah, blah, blah. But that's only because, you know, women used to like light skinned man. That was, you know, me growing up and it's like, if I was light.
Because I think black men has never had that same light skin, dark skin issue as black women, because you would have like the Tyreses, the Tyson Beckfords, the Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, but I grew up before then. So I hear what you're saying.
No,
when I was growing up, really?
No, trust me, you would still. They'll be like, "Ooh, yeah." Do you know what I mean? It's like the darker the berry is relevant to black men, but when it comes to
yeah, you didn't get that. I agree with that, because there were not many black icons. It was always like the mixed race girl with the curly hair, the green eyes, that was seen as the image of beauty. And it's sad that we've actually, but you know what's funny? I know we look at it as just a black thing, but to be honest with you, the white culture seeps into so many other cultures. It happens in India.
Oh yeah,
happens in China.
You know, that's why they have a caste system. And you know, the same when Chinese people are bleaching, I just feel like, okay, you know, we're not the only ones.
It's mad.
I feel like you're as fairest as you can be, and you're bleaching. Right. Like that's a different type of self-hate that someone has planted in your brain that you think that you need to be.
Right, but this is why now it's the next 20 years there's going to be a massive shift. Also as well, what's happening?
Yeah, it's very interesting.
I can't wait because you know, I've got children. I'd like them to grow up in a society where they feel part of. They don't feel excluded. They feel they can achieve whatever they want to achieve. And it's about them being able to get as far as they can on their merit, not on having to try to fit in. You know, be yourself, you know. And right now, you know, you look on TV and you see the Gordon Ramsays. Do you think that there could be a black chef on TV that's like a Gordon Ramsay? Never.
That's aggressive and swearing and cussing people.
Won't happen. You look at the black chefs that are on TV. Exactly. A little bit of Susie salt and Percy pepper.
Do you know what I mean? Because
that's right.
It was so, and it was like, no, that was just him. They said we're not even allowed to.
That's right.
We're not even allowed to just be.
Right. But they would not choose an aggressive black chef to be on television. They just wouldn't do it. Even in comedy, it's the same thing. In England, it's the same thing. You can have your Frankie Boyles. You know, you can have your forgot the other guy's name, but where, you know, they can actually be themselves, say what they want, and no repercussions, just seen as comedy. I'm trying to change that. So that's why I've not really pushed myself to try to be too mainstream, because we are coming to a point where people do want to see real. They don't want to see watered down.
Yeah. Just authentic. Just something that they relate to and they see in themselves.
Yes, and exactly.
We all know the faces that we have to put on, so we can all recognize as real. As soon as we see someone, you're on your best.
We know
right now. We know. Like,
yes, we know. And so that's why I love the film so much, because it kind of cut through all the BS and was just a real reflection of what was going on at the time. So yeah.
God. So many layers to this. If you,
I know,
to those people of this generation, I guess, that probably are not familiar with Babylon, if you had to direct them to YouTube to watch a particular scene, I've got one in mind, but which one would it be?
Oh wow, okay. Because you know what, there was funny bits in it as well.
Yeah.
So there were funny bits in it. So I think a good bit for people to see would be maybe when they were playing, when they'd broken into the garage and smashed up all of their equipment. Although it might seem like a really small thing to other people, it's just hi-fi equipment, but that was literally their world.
That's their life.
Yeah, that was their world. That's what they were building up, and they were looking forward to doing the sound clash, and so that was a real good part of the film where it kind of, things changed, because now it was, before it was, you know, racist people against them, and they were like, oh, shut up. Now you've physically done something now. So now it's me against you now. It wasn't just you against me. Now this is a pivotal moment in the film. It's me against you, and I'm fighting back now. I'm not having it anymore. So that's a good part in the film. If you want to kind of get a snapshot of the racist side, the other part as well was when the police was chasing Blue. With what you said, that did last a long time though. I'm not gonna lie.
That was Usain Bolt just forever. It was all night long.
Can I ask you, what do you think of the scene of when the main character went out. I think it was his brother-in-law or his friend. He was with his friend, and he dressed up with the makeup.
Okay.
To try and, yeah.
So Adam and I were like, WTF, what was this scene about?
Yes, yes.
We were so confused. I was just like, so my understanding was that it was a ploy to just jack someone, to obviously get them in. But how interesting, because when I saw him and then start putting on like eyeliner and like an earring and like completely whole demeanor.
Yes.
It's just like, this is proper acting, right? If you're missing a trick, you could be getting paid to do this somewhere.
Yes.
And then, but it was interesting because clearly this is something that happens and they've witnessed, because the guy, he lured in the guy, but the guy went up to him. He didn't go up to the guy. Yes. And I think that's where the loophole is and why they probably will get away with it, because that guy's probably...
How are you going to explain?
Exactly. He's a closeted gay, probably. So how is it going to be like, I was trying to move to some...
Yes.
Someone black.
Right.
And went having it.
Yes.
And then they jacked him. And then that conversation afterwards that they had was quite interesting when everyone was like, you know, what the heck, like, what you doing? And he was just you've got to get your money. It doesn't matter how many people you've got to step on to get your money. You think everyone here who's got money hasn't stepped on a few necks. And it was just like an important conversation. But I just thought that was so interesting. Was that something normal that was going on in the 80s or something? That was...
I don't think it was something... It wasn't commonplace, no. But I think, because to be honest with you, I'd never seen anything like that before. But... Yeah, it baffled. When you watch it, you're like, what's I don't wait.
Also,
I don't understand.
I knew there was something going to happen though. For some reason.
Yeah.
I just, maybe because I made you has now prepped me to like, I have my Raiders on now. I don't know if you watched that with Michaela Cole. I May Destroy You.
What was it again? I watched that. Amazing.
So that completely changed my perception and my ignorance or naivety of putting yourself in like certain situations. So from that, I'm now thinking, oh, is this what it seems like? It might be something else. Before I would have been like, oh, just two gay guys gonna get down. That's
yeah. But now you're on the alert.
But now I'm like, he's putting himself in danger.
It's a very strange part of the film. But what it was a way to show how innovative people had to be sometimes to try to, to make a buck. And it just showed the depths that people had to go to because, it was completely wrong what he did. It was disgusting.
Yeah.
And to think that people thought that way. And it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't a common thing where it was in the black community. It was a known thing that was done. But it did make you kind of say, oh my God, he went all that way to just to rob the guy? Like, why would you, and beat him up as well? It's like, why did you have to do that? Why couldn't you just rob him, snatch a chain or steal a wallet? Why did you have to? So it kind of showed as well, like the animosity that was there underneath. Because if you're just going to rob someone, you could, there was rage inside him. Because you can't just rob someone, which is traumatic enough. But to add what he did on top of it, it's like, why was that necessary? What was the part of the film that you would direct somebody to?
Oh, look at you flipping it back to me.
I had to, because I want to know what stood out for you or something that you're like, oh yeah.
I quite liked, when they Errol and Ronnie are stopping Beefy from going to stab the guy.
The racist guy.
The racist guy. Because they have this conversation and it's like trying to talk sense to him and let him know, like, you're just going to be the bad guy. It doesn't matter what happened before that. If you would go and stab this guy, it's going to F it up for all of us. It's going to be a race war.
Yes.
We're all going to have to deal with shit. And that conversation just, for me, encompassed everything that the film was about, but also just what we have to do, why we have to, even when people are being bad mind to us, I now have to
be passive.
Yeah, I have to be passive and allow you. I can't react how anyone would in that situation, to be like, don't talk to me, whatever, because there's consequences that will happen afterwards, and my community will suffer in that. It won't just be me, but it will bleed into the community. So I just thought that was a conversation that I think many of us have had. Times.
Yes, that's a good part of the film.
Thanks.
That's all right. Did your research?
I really enjoyed this film, and thank you for putting it on my radar. I will be sharing the knowledge going forward.
Pleasure. Did Adam enjoy it?
Yeah, he did enjoy it. He was the one telling me about all the music and stuff, and I was just like, oh my days, what is going on here? I've completely missed something. A part of my upbringing that I've lost, clearly, that should have been a part of. So
yes,
Kane, I know it's
my love.
I've had you on here for a while. It has been an absolute pleasure talking to you about all things Black cinema and Black lives.
Pleasure.
And just wish you all the best. And I would love to come down. When are you performing anywhere? Have you got any shows lined up as we're crawling out?
I've got a few. Yes. I've got a few shows booked in. What area? I don't
East London.
Talk about what area you live in. East London. Okay. All right. So I've got some shows coming up. I've got a couple in Hornchurch, which isn't too far. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you and Adam a free ticket. All right. And then give you a ticket. I'm going to let you know. I'm going to find out the dates. And I'll sort you. Anytime I'm in London doing the show, I'll sort you and Adam out with a ticket.
Oh, Kane, that is so sweet. Thank you. See, Adam,
pleasure.
Got you. Look at us, just.
We got you. This is how Black people roll. You know one Black person that. This is Adam. I've got to explain to Adam. This is a Black thing where we do have our problems, but if somebody has a link. Advantage of it.
Someone's calling someone is like, I know someone who knows someone who knows someone. Don't worry, I've got you. I've got it sorted.
Right, exactly.
All good. Yeah. But thank you anyway. Honestly, it's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much, Rachel. I appreciate you.
All the best. Take care.
Follow me. You guys follow me.
I'm already following you.
Is it? Oh, sorry.
Really unique, because unique choice in film. I'm really glad I'm aware of it. I was saying to Rachel, like, one of the films I'd compare it to is like an early Scorsese one called Mean Streets, which is hanging out for a few days in the Italian American community in New York, and so there's not really like a plot, but you're just getting a bit of this, a bit of that, a bit of the other.
That's right.
And so, so that was really good. Also, I love the fact you mentioned Patrice O'Neill.
Yeah.
He is my comedy god, mate. Like, man. Only people who know.
Yeah.
He's a good, you mentioned him and you mentioned Bill Burr, and like, they're like, if you know comedy, you know those two guys. Like,
100%. Boston guys. We grew up together. Patrice, because I love comedy. And I'm getting emotional. Hold on.
Oh.
And I know it sounds mad, but to be so honest and truthful, he missed out on so many opportunities in his life because he was self-destructive and he had really bad ways about him. But his comedy was so pure. That it's like, it really touched you. It's like listening to like poetry. You have to really, when you watch him and listen to him, go and watch Elephant in the Room. I don't know if you've seen it, Rach. If you watch Elephant in the Room, that was a special that he did before he died. And his partner at the time, she composed the music to it. And it was, if I could reach even a fraction of his, because he wasn't massively popular. He weren't like Cat Williams or these guys now who can fill out arenas. He wasn't that guy, but he was super talented. Bill Burr is like from the same school. So Bill Burr, him, oh my God, what's the other guy? What's the guy who got done for wanking in a pot and shit?
Louis C.K.
Louis C.K. So like they're
it was the referencing, and then Adam's like, "Yep, know exactly who you're talking about."
But I know from Adam knows Patrice. He will know who I'm talking about. Yeah. So
yeah.
But I'm such a fan of people being able to express themselves in an authentic way and not just trying to offend people for the sake of offending.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you could talk about race and try to make it me against you or whatever, but he was never like that. He was just a realist, and sometimes he'd make black people to blame. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't, oh, it's just the white man against the black man. It wasn't that. But he saw everything for what it was. He kind of just somehow cut through all of the mist and just got to the meat of whatever the issue was and could just articulate it in a way that I've not seen another comic be able to do.
Yeah, him and, Dave Chappelle does the same, and that's what I love about
yeah.
But yeah, Louis, I know he's sort of smeared right now, but he is a very good stand-up comic.
He's amazing. He's amazing. I'll tell you another one, Doug Stanhope.
Yes, yeah. Doug, yeah. We're really nerding out about comedy now. Sorry, Rachel.
Yeah. Sorry, Rachel. This ain't part of your conversation. Apologies.
I was like, all right, guys. Just no idea who some of these people are, but I'll just nod and smile.
Oh, do you know what I'm going to say? I'll link you up and send you a few bits, Rach, to check out. Because some of my favourites here. And the thing you said about a black Gordon Ramsay, that is a comedy sketch. You should do it.
Yes.
Real dark.
You know what? You're right.
That is
real dark.
You think you're going to have a Jamaican bloody chef going, what the rascal, like going ham, speaking patois?
It's a good sketch. It's a good sketch.
If you do that sketch, I will happily come and direct that for you for free. I will help assemble a crew and a team.
We're good to go.
You can play Jamaican Ramsay, and
Yes.
I would. Yeah, if you write that, I will happily sort out a shoot.
You know what? I'm gonna hold you to that, because I'm starting to next week. I'm actually down in London writing. Because at the moment there's a lot of money that's been earmarked for BAME productions, and I know I don't like that. I know, Rachel.
I'm not BAME. I'm just a black woman.
I know.
Can I tell you a term that I hate, and I hate seeing the white wokes use it.
The white wokes.
And it's POC, people of colour.
It's not. I hate that term as well, because people of colour is literally everyone that's not white.
That is going to age the same way coloured people has aged. It's going to age like fucking cheap.
Yes, 100%. It's just, you know what it is? This is what people are...
It's so lazy.
Yes, exactly. That's what it is.
Lazy.
And what's happened with... You see this whole BAME thing? I'll tell you what they do. So when Real McCoy was made, there was money put aside to produce a black show. After that, what they did, they put it in a pot for like the BAME group, and it ended up being the Asians who got the money. So that's why you see like there's a lot of Asian shows, Indian shows that were produced after that, and we never got any of it. But now it's kind of coming because of this whole black movement now. Even the other day, I'm not going to lie to you, I saw something the other day and I was like, you lot are taking it too far now. There was a panel, and it was like I think it was like oh my God, the one show. And there were the two guests, the two hosts, and they were interviewing, I think, 4 people, but they were on the screen because obviously a social distancing. And there was only one white person in the shot. And I was like, you're taking it to... We're not saying we want to take over. We just want to be a part of it. We just want to be a part. That's it.
God.
That's a little bit of representation. You don't have to throw everything at us now and then take it all away in another 6 months.
When people hear equality in what they hear is taking over. They don't hear that we just... I don't want to take over a space that completely has nothing... I just want to be represented. That's all it is. And it's about equality and just being on the same playing field. But some people hear that we want to take over, and that's anyone's...
No.
States. Like,
I remember growing up, and I swear to you, if a show came on the TV and there was black people on it, hey, come quick, look, it's a black show. It was a massive...
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Even, you're saying that when you're younger. No, babe. Even 10 years ago, 5 years ago, let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
When you see a show and they've got a black character in there, I'm now like, how the heck did he get in here? Or what's this?
Yeah.
What character is he playing? How long is he going to last? Is he a stereotype? So you ask these questions. And so when these other shows have been coming out, like Watchmen, and I keep talking about Insecure, or I May Destroy You, I'm just like, oh, this is like how life has changed or evolving.
But Michaela, have you seen I May Destroy You?
Of course,
Adam. I know you've seen it.
I haven't, only because I heard someone reviewing it and they said I got 3 episodes in and I felt raped out. And so I am going to watch it, but I'm just building myself.
Be prepared. No, you got to be prepared.
I mean, at least you were warned. Some of us were just watching it innocently and was like, what on earth?
I've got a guy, Toby King Bakary, he was on the show. He plays Michaela's brother in it.
Yeah.
So I've got to watch it to support him. And also, I just want to see it anyway because I hear it's great. But yeah, I just need to be ready.
I mean, no, just watch it. I think it's some of the best TV you'll ever see in your life.
It is great TV, but it is something that you do have to be prepared for. Like, you have to have quiet time. To kind of keep track of what's going on. You can't have shit else going on. It's like, you know what, I'm going to set aside this time to watch it now because I need to focus. And some weird shit happens in it.
Decode, like, you might need to have a conversation afterwards, like with someone, like a counselor.
What the hell did that mean? Yeah.
Like this, like there's certain things, but also there might be things that you were unaware of as a guy. That there's certain conversations I had to have with my brothers. And I was just like, yo, you know what I mean? Like, had to check, because you just take it for granted. You just assume because you've got sisters or whatever that someone's going to be a little bit more understanding. But actually, it sparks serious conversations with my brothers.
Yeah, it does, because it's the blurry line between
the blurry
consent, between rape, between what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, perception, and it's like, whoa. Even me, I learned, in my head, I said, oh shit, I've got a court case coming up soon then. You understand? I said, oh shit, I'm in trouble. People help me.
Guys that will be like, oh, that's right. I'm telling you, I literally heard there's some groups and I was just like, do not say that to me. I'm like the last person. I will report your ass. You think it's a joke? Like,
okay. No, I'll definitely watch it, and then Rach, we can have a discussion about it when we.
I'll be here for you. I'll be here for you, Adam, because you'll need.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
I love you guys, man.
Nice one.
Thank you.
Cheers,
Thank you. All right. I love you guys.
Love you.
Bye. Bye. Bye.